Let's get to the Omar story. Let me pull the link up. So, if you haven't heard, Omar, I believe a Somalian congresswoman has been ousted from her respective committee. I think it was the Foreign Affairs Committee specifically. Yeah. And even though she was a good voice for this, she ultimately got ousted, from that position, which she should have been in.
House Republicans in their razor-thin new majority are expected to vote tomorrow to
remove
like
4
Democratic
seats.
Congresswoman Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee. If successful, it would make her the 3rd Democratic House member to lose a committee assignment. Congressman Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell were blocked from House Intelligence last week. Republicans claim as their reason some specific remarks that Congresswoman Omar made in the past in criticizing Israel, remarks she has apologized for. But the real reason is simply vengeance by Kevin.
No, yeah, the reason they keep on defending Israel is because, obviously, the AI PAC sludge funds, I think it is, keep on, paying them money, and it's a profitable grift for House Republicans. So that's the real reason.
On behalf of the extreme wing of his party, to which entirely beholden, revenge against Democrats for stripping of their committee assignments back in 2021. Well, let's be clear. The reason why a majority in Congress, including some Republicans, voted to remove Gosar and Green was for threatening violence against Democrats. Not only did Green spread dangerous and racist QAnon conspiracies, but on social media she endorsed executing top Democrats, while also suggesting that the Sandy Hook and Parkland school shootings were staged. Gosar was expelled months later for posting an anime video.
Absolutely unhinged from reality.
Depicting him killing Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
And they claim the left is uncivilized.
They apologized, nor need they, apparently, because they, and not the supposed speaker, are now in charge. And joining me now is Democratic Congresswoman of Minnesota. And I did remark when you came in, you are surprisingly nonplussed. And
I'm shocked this woman is from Minnesota. Jesus Christ.
By what is happening. But
has to be an urban district. I mean, come on,
You make of this revenge tactic by Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, they've been on a vengeance tour, and, they've been very clear.
Well, they always are. I mean, they're rooted in contrarianism to any and all social progress.
Tonight, when the rules debate was happening in the Rules Committee, you did this, and we're going to do it without context. It's very blatantly clear. When we removed those two from their committees in the last cycle, it was because they threatened violence against members of Congress. And it had nothing to do about their work on committees. It had nothing to do about opinions that they might have on policy. And what they have done now is deny Eric Swalwell and Adam Schiff their committees because they disagreed in the way in which they led the impeachment against Trump. So this is extracting revenge for Trump, their master. And certainly, I mean, I've been a target for them from the beginning, as you remember. Myself made the promise before I even got sworn in back in 2019. Donald Trump came into my state in 2016 when I was one.
Yeah, they're just, presupposing that she should be ousted from that committee. They're just arriving at that conclusion and then rationalizing as time goes on.
For the Minnesota House and said Somalis are infiltrating your state and our country.
Okay, can Somalis not be Americans?
You remember Green coming to Congress in 2019 before she was a member of Congress and saying that Muslims should.
Yeah, she was like this Facebook troll. So, Marjorie Taylor's election, if you read into it, will really, really, really test your faith in humanity.
Not be in Congress. And oddly, for somebody who believes in the Constitution, didn't actually know that I had a constitutional right, along with Rashida Tlaib, to get sworn in whatever I chose, because we have freedom of religion in this country.
And because they're not actual constitutional scholars. I think they like to think they understand the Constitution, but it's on a purely aesthetic level. So they like this idea of, a living document that represents truly democratic values, but they don't actually, study it at all. Because if they did, they find that it's, it only gives you the absolute bare basic rights. And even then, it can be interpreted in literally any way possible because law is very discretionary. So yes.
Country. And so we know what this is about. This is about saying this particular member of Congress is not allowed to have a voice on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Yeah. This particular member of Congress is someone that we don't think is appropriate in voicing, and that comes back to the fact that they don't actually think Muslims or refugees or immigrants in this country can appropriately criticize U.S. policy, can appropriately criticize policies of other countries.
They think you're a foreign agent. They don't think you're operating in the best interests of America.
And
let me turn the music back on.
That is against my First Amendment rights. It is against what our Constitution allows. It's against the principles we all believe as Americans about the freedom to debate and engage in dissent. And you have to remember the Foreign Affairs Committee really isn't about rubber stamping whatever
speed
the
it up
foreign
a
policy
little?
of whatever administration is. It's about oversight. It's about critique. It's about advancing a better policy forward. And it certainly is about making sure that the values that we say to be true as a country are carried out through our foreign policy, and they don't remain a myth. And these people don't believe in that kind of accountability being necessary when it comes to our country and others.
And by the way, you mentioned...
Yeah, they completely operate off of double standards. Now, to an extent, pretty much everybody is going to encounter hypocrisy, a double standard in their career as an interlocutor. But you need to make amends. But they don't even remotely care about making amends and, correcting themselves to appear consistent,
Context. Let me just put up this picture. This
it's like Voss said, they've just kind of conceded the idea of empirical reality.
Posting on her Facebook this, right? You also have Lauren Boebert, who is right now justifying wanting to have loaded weapons on the floor of the House. With those kinds of people who have threatened you, who have threatened your colleagues, who have threatened other Democrats, they want to carry guns on the floor, and yet they're saying you shouldn't be on the Foreign Affairs Committee. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, and
Congress people subject. Okay, a subject, for those of you who don't know, is a rational agent. Okay, now, are we doing this cost-benefit analysis when we vote, when we tweet, when we say our political opinion and, spouse it on a website like you? Because clearly that's not objective. As a matter of fact, I actually don't think politics even can be objective. It doesn't have the capacity to be objective. Fundamentally, and at a core philosophical level, you get to the point where you say, okay, this should be because I like it, and because other people like it. And that's how it should be. So, if any of y'all have, an issue with that take, come into the stream.
In allowing Muslims, how is she supposed to carry out the objectives of the Patriot Act?
And you have somebody who essentially has threatened you, threatened other members of the squad, now potentially carrying guns on the floor.
Sadly, can you imagine someone like her oversight on Patriot?
Ooh. So, yeah, I'm just gonna close that window. Okay. So, looking for take content. This is a video from 3 months ago detailing how to sell anything from anyone. And from hindsight, because obviously it's 2023, it looks extremely optically bad. Watch a video about this, Chinese balloon thing. Omar does not think it's a threat at all. I think China does have some geopolitical leverage over us, but all our money's in them. And if we do any sort of economic warfare whatsoever, it's totally going to backfire on China. So I'm leaning to towards the idea that, China's not really a substantial challenge to the U.S. But yeah, so I'm just trying to think to myself, what are some other current events we could possibly cover? Because we've gone past, the Omar segment. We've gone past the segment. So I'm just trying to figure out what to do. Okay.